All right, let's take a deep dive into Think Like a Monk. You mentioned wanting some inspiration for personal development, positive thinking, mental well-being, the whole thing. So we've got Jay Shetty's book right here. I think you're going to really dig this one.
I think so too.
Ready to unlock some of that monk-level wisdom.
Absolutely. It's amazing how he takes those ancient principles and makes them work, for us today.
In our crazy world. It's
Yeah.
like we're bombarded with all this family, society, media, all telling us what we should want and how to live. It makes it so hard to figure out what we truly value.
Yeah, exactly. Shetty's argument is that we can end up living someone else's life.
Yeah.
Someone else's script, instead of making our own choices based on what we really value.
So how do we even begin to filter out all that noise? How do we get to what matters?
Well, he's got some good tips for finding that space to reflect. One that really stuck with me was scheduling monthly visits to a new place, somewhere unfamiliar, just for introspection.
Oh, I like that. A change of scenery can really get you thinking. But it's funny, right? We rarely make time for that.
We're so busy doing stuff we forget to just be.
Right, exactly.
But even taking a few minutes each day, just to think about what you did, how it made you feel,
Yeah.
that could be huge. It helps you see what's draining your energy and what actually fits with your values.
Like decluttering for your mind. I love how he talks about the difference between higher values and lower values.
Yeah, like compassion and integrity versus chasing stuff or wanting people to like you.
Yeah. He even has this great question, he says, to ask yourself when you're with someone you admire. Do I feel closer to or further from the person I want to become?
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
powerful.
It is. It makes you think about who you hang out with, right?
Right.
And if those relationships are helping you or holding you back.
Mm-hmm.
But even when you do filter out the outside noise, it's like there's this inner critic, right? Just waiting to fill the void with negativity.
Oh, yeah. That's when things get interesting. Shetty ties negativity to those core emotional needs. Peace, love, understanding. When we feel insecure or like we don't belong or unloved, that's when the inner critic comes out.
Yeah. And it's easy to underestimate how much that negativity affects us, right? Not just mentally, but physically too.
Oh, totally. All that stress from negativity, it pumps cortisol into our system. And over time, that can actually mess with your memory, make your immune system weaker, and even lead to bigger health problems.
So how do we fight it? Shetty talks about spot, stop, swap, but why does that approach actually work?
It's really smart. The method uses ideas from mindfulness and cognitive behavioral therapy. So the spot part is all about being more aware, noticing when you're thinking negatively without judging yourself for it.
Like you're watching your own mind.
Exactly. And with stop, you interrupt those negative thoughts before they take over. It might feel weird at first, but you can actually train your brain to pause before you spiral.
Like hitting the pause button.
Yeah. And then the swap. This is where it gets interesting. Shetty's got some surprising strategies, like replacing envy with, get this, mudita, the joy of celebrating other people's success.
Wow.
Imagine that. Your friend achieves a big dream, and you're genuinely happy for them. No envy. That's mudita.
It's the opposite of that whole comparison thing, right?
Yeah. Like Shetty says, from a monk's point of view, everyone's got a seat in this theater of happiness.
I like that.
Someone else doing well doesn't take away from your potential for happiness.
That's a great way to put it. But even when you start to handle that inner critic, there's still fear.
Right. And Shetty doesn't avoid that. He even quotes a Buddhist saying, "Fear does not prevent death. It prevents life."
Whoa.
He's basically saying, don't see fear as something to run from. It's a signal. Something's telling you to pay attention.
So it's not about being fearless. It's about learning how to work with fear.
Exactly. He suggests 3 steps, starting with acceptance, like literally saying to your fear, I see you.
Acknowledge it without judging.
Yeah.
That's mindfulness.
After acceptance, you face it. What situations make you afraid? And why? Shetty realized a lot of his own fears came from worrying what others thought of him.
I think we can all relate to that.
Yeah.
Trying to please everyone else instead of being true to yourself. So you've accepted it, you've faced it. What's next?
Detachment, which is tricky. It's not about, not caring. It's more about observing your reactions without getting lost in them.
He uses that analogy of a beautiful guest house, right?
Yeah. You can enjoy your stay without worrying about when you have to leave.
That's detachment.
It's about letting go of unnecessary worries so you can really experience the present moment. But how does all this lead to a more fulfilling life?
Yeah, great question. Let's keep going with this deep dive. I'm really interested to see how these ancient ideas can help us navigate, the craziness of life today. ready to explore the whole Dharma thing.
Absolutely. There's so much more to uncover. So we've talked about filtering out all that noise and facing our fears, but now let's get to the good stuff. Finding your purpose, your calling, your Dharma.
Dharma. Yeah. I hear that word a lot, but it can be kind of vague. What does Shetty say about it in Think Like a Monk?
He's really clear that it's not just about the perfect job. It's more about aligning your actions with a deeper purpose,
Right.
using your passions and skills to really make a difference in the world.
It's like finding where your talents and what you love and what the world needs all come together.
Exactly. And he has this equation: passion plus expertise plus usefulness equals Dharma. But he also knows it's not always easy to figure that out.
Because what if you love something but you're not good at it? Or you're good at something but it doesn't excite you?
That's where the four Varnas come in. They're like personality types
Yeah.
that can give you some hints about your strengths and what paths you could take.
Okay, I'm curious now. Tell me about these Varnas.
Well, the first one is the creator. They're the visionaries, the innovators, always coming up with new ideas, like artists, entrepreneurs, writers,
Okay,
people who love to make things.
got it. What are the others?
Then there's the maker. They're all about taking those ideas and turning them into something real, building, crafting, implementing.
Right.
They're the doers, like engineers, doctors, social workers.
So they bridge that gap between the idea and actually making it happen.
Yeah, exactly. Then you have the guides. These are the knowledge seekers, the teachers, mentors, coaches, anyone who loves to show others the way.
Right, right. They love to research, educate.
Exactly.
We all know people like that.
Yeah. And lastly, you've got the leaders. They naturally take charge, whether it's in business, politics, or just in their communities,
Okay,
inspiring people, motivating them, creating positive change.
got it. So these Varnas can help you figure out your strengths and maybe what you're meant to do, but how do you actually know which one fits you?
Well, Shetty says to try things out, experiment, step out of your comfort zone, and notice what gives you energy. He has some questions to help you think about it, like, what did I really enjoy about this? Was I naturally good at it? Did it make me feel good or bad?
So it's about really paying attention to how different things make you feel.
Yes. But it's a journey,
Right.
It's not like your Dharma just appears overnight.
It takes time.
It evolves. What feels right in your 20s might change in your 30s or 40s and so on.
Like peeling back layers, constantly learning new things about yourself. But as you're figuring yourself out, there's another thing Shetty talks about that's really important for feeling fulfilled: gratitude.
Gratitude is so powerful. It's all about noticing the good things, even when things are tough. Appreciating those little joys we usually don't even think about.
Yeah, it's so easy to get stuck focusing on what's missing, what we don't have, instead of appreciating what we do have.
And there's science behind it too. Researchers at UC Berkeley found that gratitude can actually make you less upset emotionally, improve your relationships, boost your self-esteem, even make you more satisfied with your life overall.
Wow, okay, I'm convinced. How do you make gratitude a real practice, though? Not just something you say you'll do.
Shetty has some good tips. One is to think about all the things you've received because of luck or kindness.
Like your family, chances you've been given, your friends, things you didn't necessarily earn but you're grateful for.
Exactly. And don't forget the small stuff: a good cup of coffee in the morning, a pretty sunset, a real conversation with someone you love.
It's about focusing on what you have, not what you don't.
Yeah. And here's the thing. You can practice gratitude even when things are hard, even when life feels messy.
Even when things are bad. Really.
It's about finding those silver linings, learning from tough experiences, being thankful for your own resilience.
Not pretending everything's perfect, but seeing the good even when it's tough.
Exactly. And gratitude isn't just something you feel inside. It's about showing it to others, telling them how much they mean to you.
Because sometimes you might feel it, but you forget to actually say it.
Shetty says, be specific when you thank someone. Don't just say thank you. Tell them why you're grateful, what you appreciate about them.
Make it personal.
Yeah. And do it face-to-face if you can, or at least write a thoughtful note or message.
Oh, okay.
He knows it can be awkward to express gratitude to people you're really close to, like your family or best friends.
Right.
So he suggests writing a letter. That way you can get over that awkwardness and those words of appreciation can really sink in.
It's like giving them a gift, something to keep.
So we've talked about a lot in this deep dive, from getting rid of distractions to finding your purpose and being grateful. But how do you actually live this stuff? How do you make it a part of your everyday life?
That's the question, right? So we're back for the final part of our deep dive into Think Like a Monk. We've uncovered some pretty amazing stuff, right? Filtering out noise, finding your dharma, gratitude, the whole 9 yards. But how do we actually live this stuff?
That's the real challenge, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
one thing to, like, get these ideas, but actually changing your habits, your routine,
Yeah.
that's the hard part.
Yeah.
That's where the real change happens.
Shetty's pretty honest about that. He says it takes work, you gotta practice. It's not like you just become a monk overnight.
Nope.
So where do we start?
Small steps. You don't have to change everything at once.
Yeah.
Pick one thing that speaks to you and go from there.
Okay.
Like maybe you've on gratitude practice.
Yeah.
Even if it's just jotting down 3 things you're grateful for every morning.
Simple.
Or take 10 minutes to just be quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Observe your thoughts without judging them.
Okay.
And then as you get comfortable with one thing, you can add more.
Build it up slowly.
Yeah, like working out a muscle.
Yeah.
Start with lighter weights, then gradually make it harder.
I like that. But what about when we mess up? You know, the negativity comes back, or
Yeah.
fear sneaks in, or we just feel totally overwhelmed. Does that mean we're failing at this whole monk thing?
No way.
Yeah.
Shetty says those setbacks are normal. It's like learning to ride a bike, right? You're going to wobble. You might even fall a few times.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you should stop riding.
You just got to keep practicing.
Exactly. Be kind to yourself. Notice the slip-ups, but don't beat yourself up about them. Just get back on track. And this is where detachment comes in. It's about remembering that you are not your thoughts or emotions.
You're separate from them.
Yeah, like you're observing them.
You're creating space between yourself and all that mental stuff.
Mm-hmm. So you don't get swept away by every little thing.
I see. That space helps you see things more clearly and make choices that fit with, what you value and your dharma.
Exactly.
So this is really about being more mindful, right? In your head and in how you interact with the world.
Absolutely. Bringing awareness to everything, being present, choosing how you respond with wisdom and grace.
So as we finish up our deep dive into Think It Like a Monk, I think the big takeaway is that this is a journey. It's not a quick fix.
It's about showing up every day, ready to learn and grow, and, being kind to yourself.
And you don't have to do it alone. There's so many people out there trying to figure this stuff out too. Trying to live more mindfully, have a more fulfilling life.
It's a community.
Connect with them. Share what you're going through. Help each other out.
We're all in this together.
Shetty reminds us that we get to choose how we react to things. We can let fear and negativity control us, or we can choose peace, purpose, and gratitude. That monk-like mindset.
Yeah.
And remember that analogy about life being like a stay in a beautiful guest house.
Yeah.
Detachment helps us enjoy the experience without being scared of it ending. So, as you go forward, ask yourself, if my life was a stay in this amazing place, how would I feel about fear, about the present moment, about making the most of each day?
That's a powerful question to think about. We hope this deep dive gave you some new ideas and inspired you to explore what Think Like a Monk has to offer.
Thanks for joining us.